As human beings, we rely on our senses. We feel, we see, and hear to perceive our surroundings. But what happens if two of our most important senses are severely impaired? What would life be without light and sound? In an inclusive world, rich and meaningful. This is what a European research project aims for. With state-of-the-art technology and international expertise, it's trying to push boundaries, and it has only one question in mind: how to improve the life of people with deafblindness. After an accident 40 years ago, Franz Perker lost his entire vision. He perceives the world through feel and touch, and today he lives a nearly independent life.
Ich war klein gehörlos, aber
ich bin verblind, weil ich wollte eigenes wollen. Ich bin nicht Computer met vier best. Ich lebe mehr. Es sind Reihe. Ich spiele. Verreihen ist drin ein Dörfer.
Taubblindheit, das ist eine sehr komplexe Krankheit, die ganz unterschiedlich ausfällt. In meiner mittlerweile 7-jährigen Praxis habe ich noch keinen Kunden gesehen, der gleich stark betroffen ist von der Krankheit. Also ich habe zum Beispiel 10 verschiedene Klienten. Mit all diesen Klienten benutze ich etwas veränderte Kommunikationsformen. Es sind Personen, die zum Beispiel rein über das Lormen kommunizieren. Man kann sich das so vorstellen, als ob man jetzt auf eine Schreibmaschine tippt. Ich gebe das weiter, was ich höre. Es gibt aber auch Personen, die über das Lormen die Kommunikation wahrnehmen, zurück aber gebärden- oder lautsprachlich unterwegs sind, je nachdem, wann und wie sie erkrankt sind. Taubblinde haben natürlich ganz viele unterschiedliche Hobbys. Sehr gefragt ist Fahrradfahren, Tandemfahren. Sonst gehen die auch oft Sport machen, gehen zu bestimmten Kursen, Fitness.
Across Europe, there are about 150,000 people who, just like Franz Perker, live with deafblindness. Many are using facilities that have specialized in meeting their needs and helping them in day-to-day life. One of them is Deutsches Taubblindenwerk in Hanover.
Sehbehinderung und Taubblindheit ist eine Behinderung eigener Art. Das ist leider erst seit 2017 so auch anerkannt. Das ist für uns aber ganz wichtig, weil Taubblindheit eben nicht nur die Addition von Gehörlosigkeit und Blindheit ist. Die Menschen werden leider häufig unterschätzt, weil nun sehr auffällig ist, dass beide Fernsinne ausfallen, sodass viele Dinge nicht wahrgenommen werden können. Aber diese Menschen sind primär nicht kognitiv beeinträchtigt, was aber sehr von der Grunderkrankung oder Behinderung abhängt. Es gibt immer noch keine Möglichkeiten für hörsehbehinderte und taubblinde Menschen, eine spezialisierte Weiterbildung oder Ausbildung zu absolvieren. Da sind wir ja gerade dran mit einem Projekt. Wir gehen aktuell noch davon aus, dass viele Menschen mit Hörsehbehinderung und Taubblindheit noch gar nicht als solche aufgefunden oder definiert sind, sodass wir im Moment davon ausgehen, dass die Dunkelziffer von hörsehbehinderten und taubblinden Menschen in Deutschland sehr hoch ist. Wir sehen gerade den Sprung in den letzten Jahren mit den technischen Hilfsmitteln, wie weit das fortgeschritten ist und diesem Personenkreis auch ganz neue Möglichkeiten anbietet, was Orientierung und Mobilität angeht, dass es dort zukünftig mehr Hilfsmittel gibt, um ein eigenständiges Leben zu ermöglichen.
Aber viel Entwicklungen könnte es mit als Kampen, Leben Tippen, es kann kein Computer.
Even though technology has massively evolved, there's still a lot of room for improvement. But an ambitious project is trying to change that.
SUITCEYES is a 3-year project with the aim to create haptic communication devices for people with deafblindness. We are creating something really useful, which has not been done before. The use case of SUITCEYES are not very common in this type of research. We are dealing with people with deafblindness, and if you want to communicate without hearing and without sight, it becomes really difficult. SUITCEYES is a very complex project with many subsections, and to be able to manage it all, you need to subdivide it into manageable parts.
SUITCEYES is a collaboration of 7 European countries, each of them bringing their own expertise to the table. The project is split into 8 different work packages, ranging from project management to sensor technology development and gamification. But they all have one goal in common: the HIPI, a haptic intelligent personalized interface. This wearable consists of sensors and vibration motors, as well as special fabrics. The technology allows the HIPI to perceive the environment and to communicate the information to the user through a complex electronic system. To find out which requirements the HIPI needs to fulfill, the University of Leeds has conducted various user studies in Work Package 2.
Which is about user needs, society, social inclusion, who is very much about ensuring that the technology that is developed actually meets a real need. So we conducted about 75 interviews in all 5 of the partner countries, and that helps us to get a very wide range of different cases. The nature of deafblindness and the fact that it is a dual sensory loss means that various people who may be considered deafblind have different levels of hearing and vision loss. And that has a huge impact on their life experiences, their capabilities, the kind of technologies that they need. There's a strong need to have people with deafblindness actively involved in the research.
In addition to conducting user studies, Leeds is also responsible for Work Package 4, which is about developing technology for perception and navigation.
One of the important things about the technology that we're developing is that it has to be able to sense features and properties of the environment and then convey those to the user through haptic signals. But here at Leeds, we're mostly focused on obtaining information from sensors, choosing the sensors themselves. The main sensor that we're using is a depth camera. So that provides both a visual image, but also distances to a number of the pixels using infrared depth mapping to help enrich the visual information. It's this kind of camera that our colleagues in Greece are developing their visual analysis algorithms for, so they can use the depth information to supplement visual information in object recognition.
This screencast demonstrates the detection and tracking of objects from a chest-mounted camera. As you can see in the video, the user interacts with the various objects, let's say by changing their position, lifting and rotating them. And as the user interacts, the system draws bounding boxes around the detected objects. The bounding boxes that are detected are accompanied by varying colored labels, and the percentage is an indication of the level of the system's certainty that the object that was detected is actually the object indeed. It's a deep neural network that learns from huge datasets that are publicly available, but we also gathered our own dataset. We are collaborating with Leeds in order to integrate our software in their hardware system. So our collaboration is very close, and we are working towards optimizing the whole system hardware and software.
We use additional sensors, which are ultrasonic sensors. So they work like echolocation used by bats. So you have an emitter that sends out 5 ultrasonic pips. It listens with the receiver to hear how long it takes for those to come back, and then it measures how far away obstacles might be.
With the HEPI now able to gather and process all the data, the next step is to communicate the information to the user. In Work Package 6, Eindhoven University of Technology uses knowledge in psychophysics to achieve that.
In Eindhoven, we are responsible for work package number 6, which is a work package about haptic perception and psychophysics. Haptics refers to our sense of touch, and psychophysics is a method that is used to test how well people can perceive things. Using a method of psychophysics, we can systematically test what way is best for conveying haptic messages. So that is how it relates to the rest of the project. We have a 4x4 grid of vibration motors, and the 4x4 grid can be incorporated in a vest, so it is wearable, and the grid is on the back of the wearer. What we can do with this grid is we can switch the vibration motors on and off sequentially. If we do that in a certain pattern, what we can do is draw basically shapes on the back of a user. These are meant to convey social information or situational information, so it can be information about emotions or maybe even the layout of a room. We can send a message to the user, but the user can't send a message back at this moment. What we can do is send messages to multiple users at the same time. And this can be very useful, for instance, when there are several people with deafblindness in the same meeting. What we envision is, in the end, that we can enable sending clearly perceivable and intuitive messages using quite simple technology that ensures that our solution will be sturdy and affordable.
To use the HEPI properly, the user needs to learn how it works. Offenburg University is responsible for making the learning process more enjoyable by incorporating gamified elements in Work Package 7.
The challenge here, of course, was a deafblind individual does neither see nor hear. How do we motivate these persons to learn a new way of communication? Because normally we are communicating with their hands.
We want to use gamification in the HIPPY for making the learning processes more appealing, more fun, especially for everyday scenarios. We are using a Raspberry Pi and a couple of vibration actuators, as well as a camera with a pretty wide field of view. We are using Roku markers to recognize directions and guide the person with the vest.
How can you teach a person a new communication system which works with vibrations only? Well, it is very complicated. So best thing is to make it a game, because in games we learn while we are playing the game.
In SUITCEYES we have taken an everyday scenario in which individuals with deafblindness need to follow someone else, maybe someone who is not an assistant, a seeing person who is not introduced into how to deal with individuals with deafblindness, and they need to follow that person. And we tried to gamify this as a kind of chasing game.
Often we are not in normal work situations where you can be told you have to learn this tool in order to do your work. So for them it's really about leading a better life. But everybody of us knows that, for example, sports will help you to lead a better life. But not everybody is doing sports. Not everybody is keeping a healthy diet. But if we gamify these activities, the likeliness that people will actually do it is much higher.
The final step to complete the HIPPY is to integrate all the components into an intelligent wearable. Work Package 5 provides an elegant solution by using conductive threads and special fabrics to create an aesthetic garment.
University of Borås is the coordinator of the project. And within the university, we are two different departments that deal with different aspects of the project. The Swedish School of Library Information Science, which is one department, deals with the conversion of semantic contents to haptograms, and also the main project coordination, so we manage the project. Then there is the smart textile part of this University of Borås, and they are responsible for the wearables and creation of the smart textile wearables that are the core of the project.
Smart textiles is maybe a complicated thing to define. It is of course something to do with textiles, and textiles we all know about. Textiles are garments, but textiles are also other things like bed linen or interior textiles. Textiles is a technology by itself, but then you add other technologies, such as electronics, such as sensorics, could be other means also, and then together you're creating something that is a smart textile. The goal is making something that is portable, that a person could wear for a longer time, and also when that person is walking, going to other places, that you could bring in your daily life. From a textile point of view, I think it's very interesting also to make a full-fledged system that you could communicate with the person. You could also catch up communication from that person, and then you could, in a way, closing the loop, so you have a complete system for communication. which is, in principle, a smart textile, a real smart textile.
Smart textiles, for me, they are textiles with certain functionalities. Here we are talking about, for example, the sensor functionalities or actuators that you sense the environment and get feedback to the environments. In the Suitcase project, we work with different types of textiles, not limited to fabrics. We also work with yarns, we also work with threads, but most often we work with a so-called textile construction, which means we combine different items like fabric, thread into a construction to fulfill certain functional requirement. We also work with conductive fiber, conductive yarns that can be used for example, data transfer or power transfer. We have one goal that after we have the products, some factory can produce these products. By all means, we are aiming for mass production.
This is the vision for the HEPI. Recognize the environment. Communicate with the user through haptic signals, and provide a playful learning experience. Everything inside a portable and intelligent garment. Suitcase is still working on the prototype, and development will continue until May 2021. But the HEPI is ready to meet its potential user for the very first time.
Ich kenne noch nicht so ein Teil. Also so eine Weste habe ich noch nie angefasst.
Gut.
Gut, Reißverschluss.
Ganz fremd.
Das ist für mich ganz fremd. Doch, es ist schon nötig, ja. Man benötigt sowas. Druck. Ich finde die Kamera gut. Dann kann sie die Straßenbahn schneller fassen und vibrieren. Dann merkt er das ja auch sofort. Dann kann er das sozusagen sehen, wann die Straßenbahn anfährt. Kommt. Ja. Mehr entwickeln, bitte.
What I would like in the future is that you would enter a room and there are many people all communicating or listening to the same lecture, and you wouldn't be able to tell which one of them is deafblind and which one of them can see and hear. If we could enhance the technologies that we are creating now to a format that would become part of an ordinary clothing, and people with deafblindness could wear it and happily be part of the community and taking in information on equal basis that the rest of us can, that would be an ideal situation.